The outsized power of big tech, mainly Facebook, Google, Amazon, and Twitter, is one of the few issues in Washington that animates lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. The CEOs have been hauled into congressional hearings several times over the last year, but aside from some heated sharable exchanges, it seems like little gets accomplished. But now, 5 pieces of legislation have been introduced to the House. Collectively, they're called A Stronger Online Economy, Opportunity, Innovation, and Choice. Those behind the bills say it's the most aggressive bipartisan effort in the last 100 years to strengthen America's antitrust laws. So, what's inside them? We have with us Representative Madison Cawthorn from North Carolina, who co-sponsored all 5 of the bills. Thank you for joining us today.
Cynthia, it's an honor to be on with you. Thank you for having me.
So the bundle of legislation comes after a 60-month investigation by the House Judiciary Antitrust Subcommittee. And presumably these bills are meant to address the problems that the committee found. So what are those main problems that you're hoping these bills will resolve?
You know, I hearken back to really what was going on with Theodore Roosevelt when he was working on trust busting. But we found a lot of issues that are coming from these giant tech corporations. One is that they are not allowing us to be able to have ownership of our own personal and private data. And so this is one of our bills that we're doing is actually interoperability and data portability, so that we'll be able to use our data that we have, let's say from Amazon services, and we can use it somewhere else. That way, they don't monopolize our data to where it's only efficient for us to use their products. Moving on from that, you know, we have other options where you have a lot of these major corporations who are acquiring potential competitors, and so we have a bill that attacks really the acquisition of potential competitors, increases the burden for them to be able to take them out of the playing field, because really, when you start having this giant monopolization, you lose the ability to have the free market capitalism that we all know and love. Another one is that we're modernizing the merger filing fees. That's something that we found would be very important. The DOJ and FTC need more funding. This would provide it without increasing taxes, which are very, very critical for us to make sure we're doing. And also we're working on structural separation from a lot of these giant corporations, whether it's Google, Amazon, Facebook, whatever it is. There are a lot of things that we can do to actually encourage more competition in the marketplace, which would then give more choice to the consumer. Okay,
so I want to ask you, will this end up with breaking any of the companies apart? There's nothing very specifically saying that needs to happen, but are there mechanisms there that would eventually see that happening?
Yes, I believe there are some mechanisms that might see that happening down the road, because I mean, really, conservatism has always been about empowering the American people to be able to have the right to choose. Current law and regulations prevent Americans from even having the opportunity to make a choice when it comes to big tech. So really, if anything has become clear during this year, it has been that big tech is able to wield massive power, in part because there's no free market check from alternative competitors. These bills provide that check by unleashing the competition. I mean, you saw this when there was a popular social media app called Parler that was starting to take off. A lot of conservatives starting to use that because they didn't like really the oligarchy that big tech had. And then all of a sudden you saw Amazon Web Services destroyed that platform and kept people from being able to use it.
Okay, so that brings me to a question of censorship, actually, and maybe also to the bipartisan nature of this. It's pretty remarkable to get anything bipartisan, any support for something bipartisan these days, so kudos for that. I do notice that kind of conspicuously missing is anything specifically about censorship, which of course a lot of the Republicans, especially Senate Republicans, have been vocal about. So did that get negotiated out? Is that going to be addressed in another way?
I believe I think it may be addressed. So we have a non-discrimination part of bill that we've signed on to, and this bill is, again, it's about increasing competition. So online platforms, I think, possess really the gatekeeper power to prevent other companies from entering the marketplace, and then that enables them to be able to censor what people say.
Be sure to watch the entire episode, now available exclusively at EpochTV.com, a new completely censorship-free premium subscription platform brought to you by the Epoch Times. See you there.